Let's get right to our discussion of Donald Sterling's banishment from the NBA. We're joined by AC Green, former professional basketball player who was a one-time teammate of Magic Johnson, and Judge Glenda Hatchett. She's the host of the Judge Hatchett Show, a consultant to the NBA and the NFL, and she sits on the board of advisors of the Atlanta Falcons. AC, let me begin with you. I thought that was an amazing briefing from Doc Rivers. He walked in, no notes, no prepared statement, just delivered it from the heart. And among the things that he said, I've been taking notes, he said, you know, it's interesting that the offended party is the one that gets called on for a response. And then he said, but in this particular case, Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, he responded for everyone. Your reaction?
Mike, I think he did. You know, I think Adam did give a response, and I think he did for every single person, past players, current players, and those who are watching from elementary school, high schools, and collegiate-wise, that, you know, this is not going to be tolerated. Bigotry, hatred of any sort, any type of prejudice is not going to be tolerated in a league under his watch.
Judge Hatchett, here we are. We're in the midst of the NBA playoffs. You also heard Doc Rivers, the coach, say, hey, this was bigger than basketball.
Absolutely. It is bigger than basketball. And the commissioner, I thought, was bold and swift today and did what was necessary. And I hope that the owners will take the next step to do what is necessary on their part, because the commissioner did all that he could do today. But it is bigger than basketball. And I think that some good things will come out of this, that there will hopefully be some constructive, candid conversations that we need to have about healing and not just tolerating people, but understanding people, because it is our diversity, it's our differences that really make us strong, and we have to embrace that.
You know, Judge, to your point, Doc Rivers was also asked if he had the opportunity to address the present team owner, although that might not be the case for long. What would you say to him? And he said, well, I'm really not sure what I'd say specifically, but I'd like to change him. I thought that was really a refreshing response.
I thought that was a wonderful response, and I absolutely think the world of Doc Rivers. I have always, since he played in Atlanta 1,000 years ago. And he has been absolutely marvelous, I think, through all of this. But isn't that what we really want? Don't we want people to grow and to learn and not get more divided in this conversation, but for there to be some change and some understanding, which I think Coach really hit it when he said that.
AC, recognizing that the game itself is far less important than the subjects we're addressing tonight, I nevertheless want to ask you, Coach Rivers said that emotion drains energy. How in the world does his team go out and play this evening?
Well, you know, I think they go out and play thinking that, hey, you know, Big Brother really did step up for us today. You know, we know that actually the league, this league, Adam Silver, has our back. And so I don't think that could have been said the last game up in Golden State, because it was all new, all fresh. And yes, they did make a symbolic gesture of the jerseys, removing them, but at the same time, they still knew what and who they were representing, and they still wanted to say more and do more. But I really think because of what was said out of New York, our leader of basketball, Adam Silver, stepped up and spoke for those who really couldn't speak for themselves at this time. And so I think it's a new day, a new game, a new beginning for the Los Angeles Clippers tonight.
Judge, given your...
I think it shows...
I'm sorry, go ahead, ma'am.
No, I was just going to say that it also shows that the players have power, and they use that power. They were very clear through Mayor Johnson to say, these are the things that we want, this is when we want it, and for the commissioner to address that. So I think that we have to remember that there's an obligation on both sides contractually. And if I were representing these guys in the league, I would say, listen, you can't have a hostile work environment. There has to be a place that we're doing what is right for the players.
Judge, is it a given that Sterling gets out of the way? Is there a likelihood here that he may try and stand his ground and fight?
He may well do that. Now, he can't, under the Constitution of the NBA, he cannot appeal the commissioner's decision today. He has a right to respond if the owners decide that they want to have a hearing, and he has a right to present evidence at that time under the Constitution. But I will tell you, I don't think it's going to get to that, frankly. I think that there's going to be so much pressure for him to leave the NBA all together and not have any ownership interests, because you've got sponsors, you've got fans, you've got players. We're all watching.
AC Green, Adidas and Samsung already announcing tonight that they're coming back to the Clippers. Is that premature?
No, I don't think it's premature. I mean, I think they too were waiting, but they were making a statement, you know, that they're not going to stand by in silence and not have their voice be heard. And their voice is removing their support, their physical support, their financial support of the Clippers. And so I think them coming back now that they've seen the decision, I think it's a smart move. I really do. And I don't think it's premature at all, because once again, you know, you have to stand for something. You got to step up and speak when you have an opportunity. And I think the sponsors are having an opportunity, and some of them are making the decisions that they are making, and we're seeing the ramifications of that financially.
AC, let me ask you about your former teammate, Magic Johnson, who through no fault of his own gets swept up in this because of those hateful comments that were offered. I'm not the only person thinking, I'm sure, that it would be poetic justice if, when all were said and done, it's Magic Johnson who owns the LA Clippers. What's the likelihood of that?
I think it's a strong possibility. I really do, and I would love to see that happen. You know, I really would. He's a great friend, a great leader in our community, just a great person from that standpoint. He and Cookie, they only want good. They only have been trying to do good in our society as a whole. And even the comments that were even made about him that brought his name into it, it was because he was admired for what he has done in the community and opening up jobs and creating opportunities for people. And he and I share something so much alike in the fact that the message that all this is really conveying, we're worried about what is it saying to our kids? What is it saying to our youth? And so that's why it's so important for a decision to be made. And Magic, yes, I would love for him to be the owner of the Clippers one day. I'm saying it right here, right now.
I could not agree more. Oh, yes, I so agree. I actually tweeted that at the very beginning when this started. Talk about poetic justice. If he were to lead a group of investors on this, I mean, I think that would just be absolutely fabulous.
Your Honor, thank you. AC Green, Judge Glenda Hatchett, we really appreciate your having been here. Thanks so much.